If you want to build lean muscle and lose fat from home, then these principles, techniques and nutrition tips will help you transform your body quicker and more effectively. They are from years of personal trial and error, lessons from my mentors that have been professional athletes and bodybuilders, and wins in the Fitness Freedom Athletes community, which have had over 8,000 people transform their bodies in. If you're new here, I'm Coach Adam, founder of Fitness Freedom Athletes, and I help busy professionals build lean muscle and transform their bodies from home using just a suspension trainer or resistance band. Alright, let's dive in. By the way, if you're short on time, you can grab these tips as a handy PDF below. Tip number 1, slow down for faster results. The greatest metric to build muscle is time under tension. That means slow every exercise right down. Let go of any ego for hitting high rep numbers. Instead, focus on a slow and controlled exercise movement. As a base foundation, make every rep a minimum of 6 seconds per rep, which would be a 2-2-2 tempo. Let's take a simple press up or push up if in the US, I recently learned that, as an example. So on the downward phase of a press up, when your nose is going to the floor, take 2 seconds to go down. Have a very slight pause at the bottom and then take 2 seconds controlled press up, and at the top hold and squeeze your chest muscles at the top for 2 seconds before going back down. You can apply this 2-2-2 tempo for every exercise. Slow and controlled movement, focusing on your technique and your mind-muscle connection. Tip number 2, keep your insulin sensitivity good for easier fat loss and muscle gain. Think of your insulin sensitivity as the roots from which the rest of your body grows. When you've got poor insulin sensitivity, you've got bad roots, and your body will dump the nutrients from food into fat cells so you don't grow well. But when you've got good insulin sensitivity, your body places nutrients from food into your muscle and function cells. So you have lots of energy and you grow and repair well. Carbs spike insulin. Too much insulin released throughout the day, every day, means your body becomes resistant to it. To help keep your insulin sensitivity good, have at least one meal carb-free per day. Ideally, dinner or breakfast. This means you're giving your body a long period without any insulin in the blood to resensitize. Now, I'll go into more detail on this in my free lean nutrition handbook and the links below. Tip number 3, cycle your bulking to prevent fat gain. If you want to build muscle fast, you need to bulk. But prolonged bulking as a natural just screws up your body. I've been there many times. To do it without gaining fat or screwing up your hormones, energy and mood, follow the simple rule of 7-7. It means 7 weeks of bulking, so eating in large amounts of calories with a high carb, low fat, medium protein diet. Then 7 days of a reset and fat loss diet, eating low calories below maintenance level with 0 to minimal carbs, high fats and protein. This allows you to supply the body with ample amounts of energy to build muscle mass, but put the brakes on and reset your body before you gain excess fat and slow your body down. I've got a muscle maximization course if you want to learn more about carb cycling, the links below. Tip number 4, breathe only through your nose for performance. Do it as much as possible during your workouts. The body is more efficient at oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange with nasal breathing because it uses more lobes of the lungs. This means more oxygen availability in the cardiovascular system and more oxidation of fat cells for energy and more CO2 byproducts expelled from the lungs. Real sciencey, but it's a small tweak that compounds over time to make a big difference. Try to live your general day-to-day life and when sleeping by breathing only through your nose. You'll feel dramatically better. Tip number 5, eat the sun for power and energy. The number one source of energy to fuel all life is the sun. So our goal should be ideally to unlock the energy potential of the sun. Unfortunately, we can't eat the sun, but we can eat the next best thing that absorbs the sun. Plants. Energy is never destroyed, it is only passed on and recreated in other forms, from what I understand. Plants absorb the sun's energy and bundle it into a form we can absorb. If you eat foods that are packed full of the sun's energy potential, you will be in a better position to increase and prolong your energy levels. Here's how I like to think of food choices. The closer the food source is to absorbing the sun's energy to then go in my mouth, the better it is for me. The further the food is away from absorbing the sun's energy, like processed foods, the worse it is for me. Tip number 6, prioritize your gut health on a morning. The gut has 100 million neurons or something like that. The gut is your second brain. Think about that fact and consider its implications. The gut is where our body produces serotonin, the chemical that makes us feel happy and also the chemical that drug makers make millions from by selling as antidepressants designed to replace that serotonin. Here are 2 simple things you can do as soon as you wake up for optimal gut health all day long. Number 1, clean and floss your teeth. You don't want to wash down any bad bacteria from your mouth into your gut from the night's sleep. That can affect the good bacteria in your gut. Then have a pint of water with lemon, ginger and a probiotic. It helps to detoxify and cleanse your body and boost your good bacteria army. Tip number 7, carbs plus fat equals fat stored. Eating a large amount of fat and carbs together in the same meal leads to one thing, immediate fat storage. Carbs cause insulin to be released in the body. Insulin is a fat storing hormone. The body will look to store fat when insulin is spiked due to carbs. Don't eat meals that are high in fat and high in carbs. One should always lead, either a high fat, low carb meal or a high carb, low fat meal. Think of all the foods that are bad for you because they lead to excess weight gain fast. Chips, cookies, donuts, chocolate, biscuits, cake. What do they all have in common? They are a combination of high fat and high carb. Again, I go into more detail on this in my free Get Lean Evergreen Nutrition Handbook. The link's just below. Tip number 8, use muscle-centric technique, my favorite. There's a massive effective difference in the way people exercise to transform their bodies. It comes down to 2 techniques. Movement-centric technique, which is the majority of people, and muscle-centric technique. That's the 1% of people. This is us, okay? With movement-centric technique, you allow the body to activate all the muscles it can to move. The body is great at this. It loves to use as many muscles as possible to efficiently move a load. This is great for things like running, cycling, powerlifting, day-to-day living, but it's not good for building lean muscle in the most efficient and effective way from home when you're using tools like a suspension trainer, resistance band, or your body weight, because the load is shared across multiple muscles. So no single muscle takes enough load to cause a big muscle building stimulus. You need to use muscle-centric technique to build muscle effectively and efficiently from each workout. Isolate the muscle you want to target and don't allow other muscles to help out by using a slow control technique and your mind-muscle connection to squeeze the muscle powerfully. Then the majority of your body weight load goes on to that single muscle. One muscle handling the majority of the load under constant tension creates a big muscle building stimulus. It's exactly what I teach in my suspension trainer programs. The links are below. Tip number 9, start every exercise with the target muscle. The last tip leads us on nicely onto this one, and it is the most important thing you can do for muscle growth. For example, if you're doing bicep curls, only the bicep muscle should cause movement. It's simple to say, but it's always overlooked and takes mindful focus to do. If the muscle you're trying to target is the only muscle that is causing movement, then you have eliminated any swinging or momentum, and you can then be assured that the target muscle actually has to do all the work. No cheating. This is muscle-centric technique. Isolating a muscle, creating tension in the target muscle before initiating the exercise movement. Avoid any swinging and momentum. Tip number 10, don't underestimate rest for muscle growth. Think about it, right? If your body has never allowed the time to fully recover and regenerate because it's constantly getting broken down again and again, how can you ever use the potential of the fully regrown and stronger muscle? You'll always be training at only 60 to 80% of the muscle's potential because the other 20 to 40% is still repairing, which means you're starting the workout with already 20 to 40% less muscle development. Take your rest days. It leads to better muscle development in the long run. Tip number 11, more is not better. Which do you think is better to do for muscle growth? 16 reps of a suspension trainer chest press with each rep taking 2 seconds, or 8 reps of a suspension trainer chest press with each rep taking 6 seconds. If you're like the majority of people, you'd have said number 1, 16 reps, because it's more reps. But it's wrong. Doing 16 reps with each rep taking 2 seconds would be 32 seconds that the muscle is kept under tension for. But doing 8 reps with each rep taking 6 seconds would mean the muscle is kept under tension for 48 seconds. If science tells us that muscle is built from time under tension, then the less reps with longer tempos are the correct path in this example. So remember, more reps do not always mean better results. Longer time under tension does. Tip number 12, use full range of motion. Imagine your muscle as a large landscape canvas ready to be painted. Performing a full range of motion is painting across the entire canvas from left to right to create a masterpiece. But not doing a full range of motion means you are leaving white space at the edges of the canvas and not painting them. It means the masterpiece is incomplete. Think of your muscles as this canvas. Depending on how badly the technique is performed will depend on how much white space is left at the sides of the canvas, unfinished and underdeveloped. We don't want to leave the muscle underdeveloped. The muscle will not grow into a masterpiece. So don't do half reps just to hit numbers for ego. Focus on the biggest range of motion you can. You need to slow down and reduce your weight to do this. Take every muscle from a fully stretched position to a fully contracted position as your base foundation. Tip number 13, control your negative phase. Be honest with me, do you ever relax and let gravity lower the weight for you? I know I've done it loads in the past. It's really easy to give up on the negative phase of an exercise, the part where you're lowering your body weight. Most people assume you only need to put the effort in on the positive phase. For example, a press of a press up, because they believe that is the only part that will will make a difference in building lean muscle. But it's wrong, and it will lead to poor transformational results. A muscle has 3 strength phases to grow. Using a suspension trainer row as an example, the positive phase where you're pulling yourself up on a suspension trainer row, the isometric phase where you're squeezing your back muscles super hard at the top, and then the negative phase, the lowering yourself slowly down. Not engaging the muscle on the negative part where you lower yourself means you're leaving 33% of muscle gain out. That's a huge amount you're leaving on the table. Go against gravity and lower yourself slowly. Maintain a constant squeeze on the muscle as you do so. Grab my free 7 skills to build muscle with suspension trainer handbook to learn more about this. The link's below. Tip number 14, become a master fidgeter. The body loves to be constantly moving. It thrives when it does. When you sit for prolonged periods, your body goes into a state where it purposely slows metabolism and cellular activity down. It essentially goes into fat storing hibernation mode. Recovery then slows for transforming your body because less blood is being shuttled around and less cellular activity happening for repair. And your metabolism slows down, meaning less calories burned. Become a master fidgeter for fat loss, focus, and faster recovery from muscle building. Move as much as possible throughout each day. Make loads of cups of tea. Walk up and down the stairs, the toilet. Do chores. Keep the missus happy. Any excuse to move, take it. Tip number 15, reverse diet to prevent rebounds. The main reason people rebound after cutting calories to diet is because they don't gradually increase their calories back up. A diet has 2 pathways. First, you diet down by gradually reducing your calorie intake over time. Then secondly, you reverse back up by gradually increasing your calorie intake up over time. If you spend 4 weeks in a diet phase eating less, then you need to spend 4 weeks gradually reversing out of that diet phase by slowly increasing your calories week to week to get back to your maintenance phase. Always apply this equal principle to your diet lengths. The exception to the rule is anything less than 14 days. That's kind of just like a reset, right? And you can jump back to the same amount of calories you were eating before you started. Tip number 16, to lose fat, eat fat. To lose fat, you need to get your body using fat as its primary source of energy throughout the day. This means reducing the other source that it relies on for energy, carbohydrates. If you want a simple method to lose fat consistently and without complication, do this. Only 1 meal in your day should contain a small amount of carbohydrates. Your other meals in the day should only contain fat, protein, and non-starchy veg. This will allow your body to become metabolically flexible, where it learns to use fat as its primary source of energy, including your stubborn fatty areas. So long as you don't overeat, you move a lot each day, like getting your steps in, and exercise regularly, you will lose fat consistently over time. However, to lose large amounts of fat fast, you need to get a bit more complex. This is where it's best to seek professional guidance, and that's why I created a belly fat annihilation course. The link's below. Tip number 17, choose your goal and stick to it. Here's an example of 3 body transformation goals. Goal 1, recomposition. If you want to build some muscle and lose some fat at the same time, then calculate your maintenance level calories and eat at that level consistently while exercising to build lean muscle. Your progress will be slower for building muscle and losing fat, but it's simple to live by and you will consistently transform your body over time. Goal number 2, to build muscle fast. This takes focus, a bit of time and consistency. You need to eat in a large calorie excess, mainly from carbs, to build muscle. But you can't do it for too long because it screws up your body from insulin resistance, meaning you gain fat, screw your hormones, and get lethargic. So cycle your nutrition with bulk phases and reset phases like we talked about in tip 3. Goal 3, to lose fat fast. Again, this takes some focus, time, and consistency. Ramp up your fat intake and lower your carb intake to get your body using only fat as its fuel. Then eat less than what you burn each day. Gradually reduce your calorie intake week to week. Then reverse out of it by gradually increasing your calorie intake week to week. Hitting 10k steps a day is the biggest fat loss shifter. Workouts aren't for losing fat. They are for maintaining muscle and spiking metabolism and fat burning hormones. Choose your goal and stick to it for at least 2 months to see a difference. People don't get good results because they jump ship after a few weeks, leading to this up and down roller coaster of success. And remember, there are free guides to help you with these goals below. Tip number 18, need more energy? Eat potassium. Most people rely on caffeine and carbs for energy fixes. If you're waking up each day feeling sluggish and you get daily fatigue, caffeine hits and energy bars are a short-term fix with long-term consequences. The root cause of this is most likely your low potassium levels. You need to ensure your daily potassium intake is higher than your sodium intake. Otherwise, you'll feel all out of whack and just generally tired. How do you get high potassium? Lots of green veg. Yes, it's that boring and it's that simple. Top up with the powdered green supplements to help you. I add 2 tablespoons of powdered green to my morning shake with protein, mushroom extracts and olive oil. After this, I go straight into deep work for at least 2 hours and my brain is super focused and my energy levels are stable and consistent. Tip number 19, fat-free diets will screw you up. It's a classic belief, I don't want to be fat so I'll stop eating fat. Healthy fats increase your cholesterol, the good kind. Cholesterol is essential for hormone production. When you follow a low-fat diet and you lower your good cholesterol, you lower your hormone levels with it, such as lower testosterone in men causing man boobs and a low sex drive, and fluctuating levels of estrogen in women affecting menstrual cycle and water retention. Your hormone levels naturally decrease as you age. Don't make that worse by following fat-free diets. Healthy fats are good and essential for your body to function. Don't fear them. Tip number 20, use nutrient timing to build muscle. During and after a workout, blood flow can increase your muscle areas by as much as 80%. Take advantage of this and feed the muscles the main things they need to repair and grow. Carbs, salts, water and protein. If you take creatine, this is an ideal time to take it so you can flood your muscle cells with it. Blood flow gradually reduces to the muscle areas the further from the workout you get. Eat straight away after a workout to get the nutrients to your muscles. Tip number 21, become a poser. There's a reason physique athletes and bodybuilders pose a lot. And by posing, I mean flexing their muscles in front of a mirror. It's not just to show off on stage or for vanity. Ponder this thought. If you can't squeeze and contract your muscles correctly and effectively without a weight, what right do you have to try it and do it with a weight? Practicing to squeeze your muscles outside of workouts, like in front of a mirror by posing, will help you squeeze and contract them better inside of workouts. Squeezing your muscles and practicing to pose is a form of isometric exercise. It builds muscle. I see it as free muscle gain. But better than that, it increases your mind-muscle connection by improving neurological pathways to your muscles. It helps you become better at powerfully connecting and squeezing your muscles, so you can then take that powerful squeeze into your workouts for better muscle development overall. Remember, you can grab these 21 tips as a free PDF handbook below, along with other lean muscle building and nutrition guides. If you've enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and giving it a like, and you absolutely should check out this next video because it's the one YouTube believes will be the most beneficial for you. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.